Hi, my name is Jeana Trimble, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on abortion, but not just if abortion is wrong, but that I believe it is wrong in every case. In order to prove that abortion should be illegal in all cases, I feel like I need to first lay a foundation of what abortion even is and what a fetus is really like. As you can see on the slide, this just lists different kinds of abortion. Many of them are used up to 20 weeks, as you can see. A lot of these are used even up to 30 weeks. Um, they include the aspiration, the pill, the D&E, and even induction used in the second trimester and the third trimester. This is just another slide that shows um, the D&E procedure. This is on a 23-week-old fetus. And as you can tell, the procedure truly is reaching up in there and tearing off the limbs of this child and then pulling the rest of the fetus out of the vaginal canal. And this is what abortion looks like. It is not as clean and simple and easy as what a lot of um, a lot of information out there would lead you to believe. Is it a clump of cells or is it a baby? These are two pictures showing the development of a fetus. That is a real ultrasound picture at 12 weeks. The heart of a fetus even begins beating at 6 weeks old. I read a study done in 2017 that was printed in a journal that basically says now that they believe that fetal pain is experienced much earlier than 20 weeks gestation, and they can even respond to touch as early as 8 weeks old. Some evidence is even showing that fetal pain can be worse in the first trimester because of uneven maturation of their neurophysiology. So basically, it's just not fully developed, which people originally believed would maybe mean that they didn't have pain, but they're actually saying that it might actually be even worse in the first trimester. So we need to understand that abortion is wrong, period, for me to even be able to prove my point that I believe it's wrong in all cases. This is a life. This is a beating heart. This is an infant. This is a human being that is alive to grow inside of a person. They feel pain. They respond to touch. They respond to noise. So that needs to be understood even now. And we need to realize and think and ponder, is ending that child's life and causing that child that much pain acceptable just because of situations that are done to the mother before it's even developed? So one of the first questions is usually, what if the mother's life is at risk? In Indiana, you can have an abortion for any reason whatsoever up until 20 weeks. After 20 weeks, they are banned unless a woman's life is in danger or her physical health is compromised. My few points that I want to make is, where is the line drawn? I've heard many stories that physicians will say just anxiety means that the woman's life is in danger. They will give false diagnoses to a woman in order for her to have an abortion after 20 weeks. And my other question is, what if the physicians are wrong? I'm a registered nurse. I see it all the time. They can be wrong. There are many stories of them being wrong. One of the stories that I wish I had time to read was a woman who found out directly after conception that she had cancer. This happens all the time. She was told that she needed to abort the baby, and she chose not to, had a mastectomy, had chemotherapy, Didn't take the really dangerous drugs until after the baby was born, and her baby is completely healthy, perfectly fine, and she's perfectly fine. So that actually happens very frequently. And we need to understand that physicians, even with scans and lab work, are not always accurate. It's not always true. So the next question is, what if the baby is going to die anyway? One of the main testimonies of that is Tim Tebow, and I'm sure many of you have heard of him. His mother was told that she needed to abort him because she had been sick and she had taken really, really strong drugs before she knew that she had conceived. They told her the baby will not make it. He's going to be sick. He's going to have problems. She chose to keep the baby, and long story short, obviously, you know that he was not sick and there was nothing wrong with him, and he's actually a professional athlete. There are also stories of a woman who was an actual RN in an abortion clinic, and babies would be born alive all the time that were supposed to be sick, that were supposed to not be that far along, that she literally saw and had to take in closets, and the babies were crying, and no hospitals would take them because they were considered non-viable. That same registered nurse that has that testimony ended up becoming pregnant with a baby early on, having a 2-pound baby, and because of her experience with seeing these babies born alive and dying, she chose not to abort her son that was supposed to be sick and that was born so early on. And her testimony says that he now has 2 master's degrees and he's perfectly healthy. So that is also not always the case. The baby is not necessarily always going to die. And I say, why don't we give that baby a chance? Let's carry that baby. And if the baby dies, let them die in their own time, in their own way when they come out. Give them dignity. Don't go in and rip their arms and legs out and quicken it. Allow them the opportunity to see if they will live or they will die. And last, the number one argument is, what about rape? What about rape? That is a difficult one, and being a mother that has 2 daughters at home, I can tell you that is something I have had to think about. But I want to say, number one, it doesn't define the infant just because the mother had a bad situation. As the photo shows, you can't tell which baby was conceived in rape. Why does the infant not have an opportunity to life just because of the experience that the mother went through? There are many successful people in this world that have the same genetics as child molesters or rapists. There's no proof that just because somebody has been or is conceived out of sexual abuse that the children will be that way. That's one of the big arguments. The other argument is, why have this woman carry this baby for 10 months just to experience that? And I would say there are a lot of women that have been raped and become pregnant that actually end up finding healing and beauty in the midst of that sorrow. There are also a lot of women in testimonies that were raped and became pregnant and aborted the baby because they thought that it would help them heal and take their pain away. And that wasn't the case. And they say that abortion only added to the pain that they felt and the guilt that they feel every day. I want to add and end just this part with this. This is a quote from a woman who was raped and had a baby. Little did I know, months later, I'd be woken up sweating, painting with images, feelings of the abortion. Little did I know, months later, I'd be sitting in class on the verge of tears because I could feel my stomach suddenly cramping again, and because I could hear the sound of the suction taking my baby from me. For months, I'd suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, hearing the clinking of the doctor lifting and dropping the instruments, feeling every bit of the invasion of my insides. June 21st, 2017 was the 1-year anniversary of losing her. Her is superstitious to rely on dreams. And the year was filled with many nights of a beautiful baby girl who seemed to mean the moon and back to me. This was in her dreams. It continues to go on and basically says, I've learned to forgive myself for the rapes. They were never my fault. And rather than hating the body I've been blessed with, I accept every inch of the perfection and flaw. I accept the fact that she would have been a child of hate and anger, none of which she deserved. Christy was left with the physical and emotional reminders of her rape, but she's also reminded of the abortion that she had whenever she tried to make it right. There's so many people that do this and don't realize that the children can actually bring about healing and can be a light and a joy in their life. The child does not deserve to die just because of the horrible situation that the mother was put through. Last, I just want to say, that I still believe that a child's life should be protected at all time. And I think that it is interesting that our society protects, as in this photo, eagle eggs. And there are laws against, leaving animals out in the cold in the winter, but yet it is completely legal to dismember and evacuate a human child out of a woman, but we can't destroy an egg of an eagle. And I just want to leave you with that to think about.